Arizona to restrict housing construction because of water supply issues. Arizona has determined that there will not be enough groundwater for all the residential construction it previously approved in the Phoenix area. The state is trying to postpone developers from starting construction already approved. The state said it would not revoke building permits that had been issued previously. Rather, it is scrambling to try and secure additional water supply. The state is focusing on water conservation measures and alternative water supply sources for the permits that have been previously approved. Alternative supplies could come from Native American reservations, but I don't see this as viable as they are already facing their own shortages. Phoenix and the surrounding cities have to obtain permission from the state for development every 10 to 15 years. So what I see happening is the development requests start getting denied as that 10 to 15 year period expires, and these cities have to go and get the permissions renewed. This is likely the end of the construction boom in Phoenix and Arizona. There's a couple ways I could see this playing out. If there is adequate supply for the existing population, the existing construction and houses, and but construction slows down in the future, well, even if demand continues at like the current levels or increases a little bit, you're going to have housing prices that increase at a higher rate than the country on average. That is to say, elevated demand with inadequate supply will result in high housing prices. I get that housing prices are already very high. What I'm thinking is they could go even higher in areas where construction slows down for whatever reason, but the demand is still there. In the case of Arizona, we're talking about not having enough groundwater for new residential construction. The state could come at this issue from the angle of increasing water prices significantly or even limiting water for the existing developments that are there, which would have curtailed demand. If you're paying more for your water bill, it's going to be less attractive to live in a place. But by restricting housing construction, prices are going to be driven up. So a good conspiracy theory would be that the well-connected residents are using this crisis to make Arizona a more exclusive place to live and drive up their own home prices. A discussion that's been taking place in California and has been taking place for more than 100 years is the fact that agriculture consumes a lot of water. Alfalfa seems an especially wasteful crop in terms of water consumption. I'm not a farmer. I'm not sure how prevalent the practice of flooding fields is, but in the western part of the country, but this seems wasteful considering the water scarcity issue. I've explored the topic of desalination, and it is extremely expensive and energy intensive. Desalination is not a viable solution unless there are absolutely no alternatives. It is cost prohibitive. Let's consider the water usage breakdown of a state like Utah. 50% of the water in Utah goes to alfalfa production alone, and that crop is largely exported to China. 32% of the water goes to other agricultural crops. So right there you have, 82% of the water in Utah going towards agriculture. 8% goes towards industrial and government use. 10% goes to residential use. 6% of that 10% of the residential is for outdoor use. So only 4% of the Utah water consumption is for indoor residential use. I encourage you all to take a long-term conservative view toward the future. You need to be thinking about 5, 10, 20, 30 years or longer, those kind of time horizons. I personally would not be purchasing or investing in areas with water scarcity issues.